Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Alexis Batulis with Columbus, and I'll be your MC for our virtual Let's Learn Live Summit focused on everything Microsoft Dynamics GP. As much as we would love to meet with you all in person, we're very excited to have you join us remotely. Welcome to our first session of the day. We started the call by putting everyone on mute, so if you have any questions during today's presentation, please use the question box on the upper right-hand side of the screen to ask any questions that may come up. At the end, we'll have time for a Q&A with our presenters. If you are interested in submitting for CPE credit for attending this session, please be sure to complete the survey at the end of the broadcast. This survey will be available once the session ends. Finally, we are recording this session and we'll be sending a link of the recording to all attendees within an hour after this webcast. Now I'm excited to introduce your first presenter today, our very own Vicki Kowaleski, Business Solutions Architect here at Columbus. She will be presenting our opening keynote, Continuing the Journey to the Cloud, Dynamics GP to Business Central. So without further ado, Vicki, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks so much, Alexis. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your day with us today to be part of our virtual event. We're excited to have you and share some information with you. As Alexis said, I'm kicking off the day with continuing the journey to the cloud. We're going to talk a little bit about Dynamics GP and Dynamics Business Central and what that migration may look like for you. So let's jump right in and get started. As Alexis mentioned, there are handout available. So my slide deck is available for download in the download section. You should be able to see that in your GoToWebinar box on the right-hand side there. You won't need it for the presentation. I usually like to download it afterwards. There are some good links in here that I've included in my slide deck for you that you can take advantage at a later date on your own time. A little bit about myself. I've been with Columbus since April of 2019. Been in the Dynamics channel a little over 20 years. Prior to that, I was an accountant. So a lot of the things that I work on with you are near and dear to my heart because I remember too what it was like having to get through all of the transactions and the reporting and the information that needed to get through. I've been working with GP and SL for a very long time, so they're very near and dear to my heart, and I've been working with Business Central since 2018. I always like to note that I actually started with version 6 of GP, so it take you back a ways and let you know how long I've been in the solution. Today's agenda. We're going to spend a couple minutes talking through the GP roadmap. I want to make sure everybody has the information they need with regards to Microsoft's intention with GP. We're going to talk a little bit about the buzz, what's creating the interest of Business Central. We'll jump into what is Business Central. I'm going to show you my demo environment and a little bit of the navigation so you can become familiar with the homepage and what Business Central looks like. We'll talk through some advantages and differences between Business Central. We'll talk through some planning, what we've worked with previous GP customers on planning for a Business Central migration. And then we'll talk about what customers are saying that have migrated to Business Central. And then we'll leave time at the end for some Q&A. So definitely, as we're going through any of this content, make note of any questions that you have, and we'll make sure we'll get those answered. All right, let's have some fun. I wanted to include the information relating to GP's lifecycle, what Microsoft has published. As I've previously stated, I've been working with it for a long time. It is near and dear to my heart. When Business Central was launched, our competitors, they tried to do the scare tactic that GP was going away. I wanted to include this data so that you had everything that you needed to understand Microsoft's position. GP has a huge following, so they are committed. They have moved with the latest update, the October release. I think by now you've heard that they've changed it. There'll be no more numbers associated with the GP releases, but it is the October release. It moved to the modern lifecycle policy. So there's some information in those two links that I've included that it'd be good for you to understand. There'll be yearly updates, so they will still be adding some features and functionalities to GP. And as the life cycle indicates, they do have releases targeted out to 2024. So while some people like to put a sense of urgency on a decision around GP, I think that there's enough information here for you to take in and make the decision that's right for your organization. If you want to know more about what's new and what's coming up in the latest release that's soon to launch here, right after my session, Spring Walker, one of our amazing consultants, is doing a What's New in GP. So make sure that you're registered to take advantage of that. It'll be a good session for you. All right. So let's talk about what's creating the buzz and our GP users to take a peek at Business Central. I think first and foremost is if you're on an older version of GP, you'll see based on the lifecycle information I shared previously, there are sunsets for the older versions. And so you'll want to make sure that you follow up to understand when support will be ending for your version. What that means is we can certainly continue to help you, but if we would have trouble, Microsoft, and we would need to go to Microsoft, they wouldn't be able to help us if they've stopped support for your version. So I think one of the biggest things for clients is if I'm on an older version of GP and I need to upgrade anyway, is it time to look at Business Central? One of the biggest points about that is if you have an aging server. So if you're looking at an upgrade cost for services and you have to get a new server, it's pushing our customers to take a step back and just talk about what does BC look like and what does that mean for my organization. It really, moving it to the cloud will mitigate your risk as well as reduce your infrastructure costs. So that's definitely one of the areas. The other is total cost of ownership. Something to know because Business Central is in the cloud, your upgrade costs will go away. So having to pay for services for an upgrade no longer apply, as well as your yearly enhancement. It's a SaaS model, so you'll be paying monthly for your users. Your yearly enhancement costs are going away. The next big thing I think that interests everybody to take a further look is mobility. You have it's mobile enabled, so you can get to your data from any browser. And so working remotely, especially with what we've been through as a nation currently, it means you can work anytime, anywhere. So a lot of our customers, that's a big plus for them. The other thing is reporting. So different than GP, one of the biggest advantages that clients are talking about is how Business Central, they will use dimensions. You can think of those as attributes or categories. I liken them to, we have an account string in GP. So we have our natural account and then segments based on the reporting needs of the organization. to support that. Dimensions are very similar, and the best thing about that is when you tag dimensions and transactions, it just takes your reporting to a whole new level. So really slicing and dicing your data is endless and very easy versus what we have now available to us. The other item is Power BI. So Power BI is built in. So a lot of the dashboard functionality that a lot of our GP users were looking for is built in with Power BI. So taking advantage of that and opening up reporting and analytics in a modern design that everybody is starting with the dashboards to come accustomed to is much easier. And then lastly, Office integration. So Office 365 has a tight integration to Business Central. You know, they're all, Microsoft School is that common platform. And so with your Office integration, you can, in your Outlook, if you get an email from a customer or a vendor regarding a document, you don't have to go and launch Business Central. You can use the inquiry tool and you can inquiry that customer or vendor transactions and be able to reply to that email. And it speeds up the process, makes it a lot more efficient. So you'll see a lot of integration with the Office suite, as well as things like Flow or Power Automate and other applications. So there are a lot of buzz around Business Central. These are some of the top areas that to take into consideration. So let's talk about what is Business Central. Simply stated, it is the next-gen cloud-based platform ERP solution. It is built on functionality in Dynamics Nav, along with some of the functionality that you're starting to see in GP. So I was excited to hear this. Microsoft's doing a really good job, I think, at listening to its user base. Business Central wasn't originally deployed with smart lists, but our GP users, that is near and dear to their heart. I have a lot of users that have built their day around smart lists and really helping their job get done. And so you'll see here, I think sometime in July, Microsoft will be rolling out smart lists with Business Central. So it's really an all-in-one management tool. It is slated as the modern way to do business and really improve collaboration and process across the organization. You know, it's really trying to break down silos. You have automated tasks and workflows that can help process transactions more efficiently and taking the manual pieces out of it. You have actionable insights. And so when we log into the demo, you'll see on our homepage, there's a lot of areas they call insights, which are you know, information at the fingertips that you need to make your day more efficient instead of multiple clicks or generating reports, things like that. So we'll take a peek at those when we log in. They have a rapid start deployment. You know, there is an integration tool or a migration tool that they have provided that we can use to migrate your GP data over. There is a rapid start deployment to get started on Business Central pretty quickly. I included the overview for you, the link to the overview. I think it will definitely help. One thing I want to note, you know, it is a fully SaaS-based model. Microsoft automatically will push out enhancements, bug fixes, and updates. So no more upgrades and upfront costs. For companies that truly need it to be on-prem, there is Business Central on-prem. So you can keep that in mind as well. All right. I wanted to, before we jump into Business Central, there are licensing I wanted to mention here. Essentials and Premium is how Business Central is broken down. Really, the thing to keep in mind is that if you need service management or manufacturing functionality, that would be a premium license. And we'll talk a little bit more about those later on. Uh, and Essentials houses the other functionality. So if you're premium, you'll get everything that's in Essentials, and then added service management or manufacturing functionality. There is a Teams license as well, kind of comparable to our GP light users, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. So let's jump in. I know everybody's excited to take a look at Business Central. So I've logged in. This is my demo database. So I've logged into my Business Central. This is the home page. I mentioned earlier about insights. You'll see there's various areas in the home page based on your role in the organization is what you'll have access to. Your homepage is customizable. So GP, we could move transactions, inquiries, cards around and do some light customizations. This takes it to the next level, and you can really take advantage of the real estate on your home page. You'll see activities. I mentioned, based on the things that are important to your role, you'll see various activities. You'll also see hyperlinks. So it's nice that it tells us we have overdue purchase documents, but if you wanted to see what those purchase documents are, you could drill back and see what makes up those outstanding items. The navigation is very, I think you'll agree that is very familiar to other areas that we're used to navigating in a solution. You'll see down here there's insights. So again, based on how you want to set up those insights, you can add these to your homepage. You'll see some more analytics. This is all driven by the Power BI that I mentioned earlier, so that, again, you can make this work for your organization and add the KPIs that are important to your organization to your homepage. The other thing that I wanted to, again, I think they've done a really good job with a refreshable homepage. They have, they call it a tell me or a search bar. So even now, even though I've been using GP for so long, you're trying to figure out, oh, where is that functionality? Where do I get to that? If you are looking for something in Business Central and you use the search bar, you can see that once I've typed vendor, it will bring up the various areas that vendor apply throughout the solution. So on the current page, it's telling me that I can get to purchase journals related to vendors. Here for pages and tasks, I can jump to the vendor cards, which we'll do here in a minute. For report and analysis, you can see the various areas associated with a vendor. And then lastly down here, you'll see documentation and app source. Documentation, so in GP, when we hit our question mark and tell me about this page, their documentation in Business Central is a little bit different. It takes you to Microsoft's site for Business Central, and here is all of their documentation related to Business Central. I think they do a really good job at the help files. It's pretty intuitive and easy to navigate through. So let's go back to our search bar and vendor. When I type vendor, if I go to the list, here's my vendor list. So these are all of my vendor master records. If I open up Fabricam, you can see over here, very similar to GP, all of the specifics related to your vendor. There's ways to navigate in the software through this toolbar as well. Push pin to pin or unpin the action bar. You can put notes. So our notes in BC are a little bit different than GP. You can add notes and they're right in the front. We can do document attach. Okay, So that's a little bit of Business Central of their homepage. I just wanted to give you a feel for it. Let's jump back over. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the advantages related to Business Central. So an improved a user experience. I think I mentioned this prior. It's the modern look and feel that we're used to in other applications. And it allows us to take advantage of dashboards and AI and machine learning that's built in with Microsoft, as well as intelligent cloud features. Opportunities on the go is another advantage. We mentioned that earlier as one of the points that are having GP users inquire. It is a fully mobile connectivity, so you no longer are limited by a stationary device. You can access your data wherever on the go. Reduced infrastructure, hosted means there's no server, so the costs associated and the maintenance associated with the server go away. Increased system updates, so Microsoft will provide updates every 6 months, and they will contain a significant amount of enhancements. Just like they're adding smart lists, I think you'll continue to see Microsoft doing a good job of really going deep with Business Central and continuing to add functionality to it. Increased integrations, BC runs within the Microsoft 365 tenant, so that's a tighter integration to Office 365. You can use things like the add-in I mentioned in Outlook, as well as Excel. Flow is another one, or what they call Power Automate now. So it would take your workflow functionality in Business Central and really explode it to that next level. The other thing I wanted to mention here is Microsoft's working towards that common data model. So they're really trying to think of accounts and campaigns. They're similar in various applications. They're working towards a common data model to really standardize the data and help integrations take a lot less time and be a little bit easier. And then, expansion. Definitely Power BI takes those analytics to the next page. I know a lot of my customers have built dashboards using Excel just to help leadership and finance and operations people have that data they need at their fingertips. Well, now with Power BI, it takes it to the next level. Let's talk about some differences. Licensing model is one of the differences I wanted to mention to you. I in a previous slide showed the essentials and premium and what was available with each of those licenses. So the premium license is $100 per user per month. Your essential is $70 per user per month. And then your teams are $8 per user per month. Keep in mind that main difference is the functionality around manufacturing and service order. What I do want everybody to take note of is that Microsoft is offering a 40% discount if you're current on your enhancement plan. So that's a pretty significant savings to mention. The other thing, the Teams member is a little bit different. That member can read anything in the Business Central database. They can update existing data and entries in Business Central. Existing data are records like customers, vendors, items that are already created. They can approve and reject tasks in all workflows assigned to a user. You can create, edit, delete a quote, create, edit, delete a personal information, enter time, and use Power Apps. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Supplemental software and system integrations are another difference for my GP users that have ISVs. They are a good bit of them are current of moving their platform to Business Central as well. Some are a little bit behind. So when you're taking a step back and looking at Business Central, if you're using ISVs, one of the things your account manager and myself will do with you is talk through what that looks like. And for any ISVs that may not have integration to the BC platform, we can definitely work on finding one that does, or sometimes that functionality isn't needed any longer with what's in Business Central. Available through web services. So you can get at your data. It's just a little bit different on how you access it, and understandably, because it is in the cloud. The last thing I wanted to mention is business processes. BC and GP, while functionality, accounts, vendors are vendors, customers are customers, the software is just a little bit different. And so sometimes taking a step back and identifying your business processes, we can do a business process review with you. It makes your migration to Business Central that much more effective, just because we know what those differences would be beforehand in the migration. As part of identifying those business processes, it can work towards developing those standard operating procedures as well, which will either need to be developed or updated depending on the organization's requirements. All right, so those are the differences that I wanted to mention. The next thing I want to talk about is planning. Again, we're here for you. I think if you want to learn more about Business Central, reach out to your account manager. You have my contact information. If you don't know who that is, reach out to me and I'll find out who it is. We will work with you to do some initial discovery on how you're currently using GP, if you have any ISVs, what version you're on, all of the fun stuff that we need to know. We'll do a demo with you. We'll work on an ROI analysis that will help as well in the decision-making process. Again, depending on the functionality that you're currently using, documenting key business processes is a huge step. We can do that with you, for you, or you can do that yourself, but really identifying what you truly need or truly using in GP is what will help identify what we truly need in Business Central. Data maintenance, another thing for my GP users that have moved over already, a big thing is data maintenance. So if you're not currently marking your vendors inactive, as part of year-end maintenance or that, I suggest now is a good time to start taking a peek at that. And also, I have some of my GP users that have 20-some years of data in their database. We help you through all that. What do you want to bring forward, and talking through what needs to be done. Data migration. There are multiple migration tools out there. If you're on the latest version, you have access to Intelligent Cloud, which is a replication that will replicate your data to a BC instance. But this is definitely something can be talked through with your account manager to do some planning around data migration. And lastly, I think the biggest thing in planning is really to partner with us. Don't do it alone. We at Columbus, we have expertise all the way wrapped around Microsoft offerings. So, the other Microsoft 365 services, we have infrastructure help. Definitely don't do it alone. I think having us help you is key. All right, so let's talk about what customers are saying about their migration. I think, as you can see, I had showed the notes area I think one of the biggest things as that Business Central helps is opening up team communication or team collaboration. So we had a customer that was excited about the notes and having them more visible in Business Central, as well as being able to attach pictures like to her fixed assets. That was important to her. It is extremely customizable. Um, so I think I've heard my GP users a lot of times when you do an inquiry and the data sorts, a lot of our users have had us do a little customization to resort the data, maybe instead of old to new, new to old. It is customizable in BC and it's pretty easy to do. So this customer was excited that we could resort the data. She said it saved a lot of hours in countless trees, which made me smile. Moving from an on-prem version of GP was much easier. I had a customer tell me they, sometimes when you're moving, not sometimes, all the times when you're moving to a new platform, there's some anxiety, right? Because we have to get our everyday job done and learn a new tool. But this customer particularly was excited at the end that it was a lot easier than she anticipated. And that now that she could access the data from anywhere was a huge plus. And then the last one I wanted to mention here was, with the increased financial visibility, the optimization to their supply chain, they were able to boost and improve sales and service. So as their sales rep made a change to a quote, that information is reflected in the inventory numbers and really across the whole team. And so this person really liked the fact that that visibility was opened up in the organization. And then you can do the whole quote to cash in a single solution was important to them. So I think that Business Central does have a lot of added value in how they're enhancing the reporting and the collaboration and access to your data. So a couple last minute items. First and foremost, get in touch with your account manager or myself if you don't know who your account manager is, and let's talk about Business Central a little bit further. We'll be happy to do a demo, talk through business processes, how that might look in Business Central. I wanted to share a link with you. We did a webinar, Let's Talk Business Central to GP. It's a great webinar for you to share. There is a good blog post out there. Columbus, if you're not paying attention to our blog posts, definitely take a peek. When should you consider upgrading from Dynamics GP to Business Central? And then I included the links to get to the documentation for Business Central. So with that, I just wanted to thank you for spending this time with me and talking through Business Central. I'm happy and excited to share this information with you. So feel free to reach out and I'll take any questions at this time.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Vicki. So we will take some time to address questions from the group now. If you haven't already, please enter your questions into the chat box on the right-hand side of the screen. It looks like we have a couple here for you. What is the anticipated response time when using BC versus using VPN to connect to the company server?
I didn't, you broke up on the first part of that. I'm sorry, Alexis.
Sorry.
It might be my headphones.
What is the anticipated response time when using BC versus using VPN to connect to the company server?
I think Business Central is definitely faster. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but if you want to capture their information, I can follow up with them and send them some information about that.
Okay, great. Do they plan on adding project accounting at some point that you know of?
Um, Business Central does have project functionality depending on the needs of your organization or the requirements. Um, uh, you may be able to use it. It's definitely something we would take a look at during a demo process with you.
Okay, great. And if anybody would like to reach out to us, you can contact us directly at us-marketing@columbusglobal.com. And we have another question here. How does the business process review go?
Business process review engagement, it, it, there's multiple ways to do it. My preference, I've been doing them for years, and my preference is to bring all the users together. We can either do it virtually or on site, depending on, with what's going on, but bring the users together and talk through the processes that are currently in place around GP. So we, from beginning to end, talk through how you're using GP, what are your internal processes wrapped around GP and related solutions. We document all of our discovery. After the discovery sessions, the document includes recommendations. So it could include recommendations on how to improve the usage of GP, or it could include what it would look like in Business Central. We've done that for a handful of our customers already. And then based on which way the business process is to go, if we're trying to improve GP, we'll work through recommendations on how to better use the functionality or shore up any gaps in our processes. Or if we're moving that into Business Central, we parallel what that functionality looks like in Business Central for you. But the outcome is a documented process.
Okay, great. Does BI have deployable reports that you can schedule?
Yes, it does.
All right, this one is from David. We have separate databases in GP 2015. Would BC allow visibility of all companies under one login?
I do not believe it does, no. It has intercompany functionality. So you can process intercompany transactions, but I don't believe you can see in your homepage. Now, you can do Power BI and you can do analytics across organizations that way. If you need more information on that, and depending on how you want to see it, reach out to me. I'd be happy to discuss it further with you.
Great, and that does lead into the next question here. Does Dynamics 365 BC offer multiple organization functionality?
Yes, it does have intercompany functionality.
Great. Is it compatible with multi-entity from binary stream?
Multi-entity does have a version that is compatible with Business Central. That is true.
Okay, great. One more question here. Does it still use MR for financial reporting?
It does not. It does not. It has built-in reports that can be customized based on your needs, but MR goes away. And that data does not migrate, so it's something that in the implementation planning part, we allow time to show you how to build out those reports.
All right, great. If there are no additional questions here, I'd like to thank you all for attending. Thank you so much, Vicki, for a great overview of the journey to the cloud. We hope to see you all at the top of the hour for one of our upcoming breakout sessions, What's New in Dynamics GP 18.2, or Working Virtually in GP. If you registered for both sessions, you will receive a recording of both so you can view on your own time. Again, if you'd like to submit for CPE credit, please complete the survey provided after the session. It will also be included in the follow-up email. You can earn 1 credit per session attended today, up to 4 credits total. Please reach out to us-marketing@columbusglobal.com with any further questions. That concludes our keynote. Thanks again, everyone. We'll take a short break here and we'll see you shortly.